In our first story, Behind Mansion Walls, a perfect country manor
It was a mansion in every sense of the word.
holds a dark and chilling secret.
About where I was standing, there were human teeth.
And later, raised in riches,
From the time he turned 18, he got access to the Vesti millions.
destined for disaster.
He cut her head off to hide the evidence.
I'm Christopher Mason. Charm and money go hand in hand. A winning smile can seal a multi-million-dollar deal, but it can also send the unwary to an early grave. Beware the devils in disguise.
Stone fireplaces, crowned by exquisite chandeliers. This opulent country mansion is perfect for entertaining, and it has a famous former owner.
Indiana's most prolific serial killer.
Indianapolis, Indiana. The big Midwestern city with a small-town feel.
Even though it's a large city associated with the Indianapolis 500 and other events, is really a small Midwestern town in certain ways. Very conservative, very family-oriented.
On the city's northern outskirts is Westfield, a district synonymous with prestige.
You can find houses that range in value several $1 million. And I'm talking about maybe 30 or 40, $50 million houses.
One of those sprawling estates is Fox Hollow Farm. In 1993, it's home to Herb Baumeister, his wife, and 3 children. A mansion bought with the profits from his successful chain of retail stores.
It had a beautiful Tudor home, 18.5 acres, long driveway. It was a mansion in every sense of the word.
It was very picturesque. It was a very nice piece of property.
Herb was said to be a devoted father, and that was something that was very important to Julie.
Herb and Julie appeared to live a fairy tale. But like the ivy climbing over the windowsills of their Tudor mansion, tendrils of disquiet crept into their marriage. The first hint that something was awry appeared just months after their wedding, when Herb was committed to a psychiatric hospital.
About 6 months after they had married, his father had him committed. And I remember asking her, you know, how she felt or what she made of that. And she said she just never asked.
Julie never discovers that Herb was once diagnosed with schizophrenia.
I think that's somewhat telling because over the years, there seemed to be a lot of things she didn't question.
Frank conversation isn't the only thing missing from the Baumeisters' marriage.
She did tell me that over the course of what I believe was a 25-year marriage, that they actually had sexual intercourse 6 times. She never saw Herb nude, and she said it was because he was self-conscious because he was so tall and thin.
But over the years, money makes up for the lack of passion. Until that, too, becomes scarce.
Their financial success was declining.
The Baumeisters' retail business empire begins to crumble.
I think that did put stress on their marriage.
To escape the arguments, Julie begins to spend more and more time apart from her husband.
She would take the children to a lake house that was owned by Herb's mother. And maybe she also welcomed the opportunity to get some time away from Herb.
In the summers of 1993 and 94, Herb has Fox Hollow Farm to himself, with plenty of spare time. Meanwhile, in nearby Indianapolis, something strange is going on.
A number of gay men from Indianapolis had begun to disappear.
People were missing that shouldn't be missing.
One man who went missing was named Alan Broussard, and his mother ultimately contacted a private detective named Virgil Vandergrift to try and find out what had happened to her son.
Virgil Vandergrift has only been on the case a week when he's contacted by the mother of another missing man, Roger Goodlett.
Neither one of them had the typical things that you would think of, like cell phones and credit cards and things that you could look at to track.
And in 1990s Indiana, it seems being gay is akin to being invisible.
I think if it had been young blonde co-eds disappearing, young blonde college students, that would have been very different. Some of the victims' families tried to contact the police and the media, but they just weren't interested.
So Vandergrift and his team print missing persons posters to try and trace the men's final steps.
So we decided to take them into the gay community area and distribute them among the gay bars. And at that point also, we found out that there were a lot more missing gay people.
From 1993 to 1995, 10 homosexual men are reported missing from Indianapolis.
The gay community there was starting to be aware not only that men were disappearing, but that also their disappearances were being ignored.
Finally, the publicity pays off.
Vandergrift.
Virgil Vandergrift gets a call from a frightened gay man.
And when he did call Virgil, it turned out he had a very interesting story to tell.
Tony Harris's story begins one night in August 1994.
He said that he was at one of the gay bars, had a conversation with a man there.
He had met a man in a bar who identified himself as Brian Smart. They started talking, and eventually Brian convinced this young man to come back to this mansion. Brian Smart took him into this house, but said, oh, there's no electricity. So he kept it very dark, and he said, oh, we can't walk around the house, but led him to the basement where there was, as he had promised, this indoor pool.
This man wanted to do asphyxiation,
which basically means choking someone while they're involved in a sex act and cutting off air and oxygen to the brain, which causes something of a rush.
Without realizing the peril he's in, Tony Harris submits to this dangerous sexual game.
And he allowed Brian to perform this act on him. But when he felt he was starting to apply too much pressure, he pretended he had passed out. And he heard Brian saying, "Are you there? Are you okay?"
and then he surprised the guy by letting him know that he wasn't dead.
I'm sorry. It's okay. Just relax.
Tony Harris talks Brian Smart into driving him back to the bar. Shaken by the encounter, Tony telephones Vandergrift, telling him if he wants to find the missing men, he should start by finding Brian Smart.
This young man was immediately convinced at that point that Brian was involved in these disappearances.
There's just one problem. When Virgil tracks down local men named Brian Smart, none fit the description given by Tony Harris. The trail goes cold.
He pretty much disappeared, and there weren't more disappearances for a while, which sort of hindered, obviously, the investigation.
But Virgil Vandergrift doesn't give up. He's got a hunch that as long as this Brian Smart remains at large, men will continue to disappear.
Part of my training was profiling of types of people that could commit certain crimes. I was convinced that we had a serial killer.
The well-heeled residents of Westfield, Indiana, normally expect to find manicured lawns and carefully trimmed hedges in their backyards. Not human skulls.
Not exactly normal.
It's the fall of 1994.
Look what I found.
And housewife Julie Baumeister is stunned by her son's discovery.
She was kind of startled, to say the least.
Can I keep it?
But when Julie's husband Herb gets home, the mystery of where the skull came from is quickly explained.
How's today?
She obviously asked him about this,
What I found?
and he said, "Oh, it was my father's skeleton from medical school."
Can I have it?
His father had been an anesthesiologist.
Who's that?
Somehow it got out into the woods. I think he had some explanation that somebody got into the garage or animals got it or what have you.
We're gonna get rid of this.
Julie just accepted what he said at face value, but it was a rather odd discovery.
Human remains in the backyard. An odd discovery with an even odder explanation. For the moment, Julie accepts her husband's word, but not everyone has such faith in the goodness of humanity.
When I looked at what our investigation was showing at that point, I was totally convinced that there was a serial killer involved.
Virgil Vandergrift is investigating the disappearance of men from Indianapolis gay bars. He's been contacted by Tony Harris, who believes he had a narrow escape from a man who could be a killer.
The guy gave him a name of Brian Smart.
Just relax. It's okay. It's okay.
But a search for men named Brian Smart leads to a dead end. So Vandergrift asks for details about the mansion where the encounter occurred. Where was it? And who lived there?
He could tell they were driving north into what he told us was rich people territory. He saw some horse farms, so he had an idea of where they were, but it was dark and he couldn't really see.
He also said that the property had a sign. It had something farms on it.
Tony remembers seeing some strange objects in the house.
This young man was able to walk around the house, and he saw some children's toys. He said, "Oh, that's kind of strange." And then he saw 2 different bedrooms, one that had women's clothes. So he thought maybe he's a cross-dresser.
What he found also bizarre is he said it was kind of dirty and had mannequins all through the house. Some of the mannequins were in odd positions, like one was like it was getting something out of a cabinet. Another one was dressed up in a lifeguard outfit sitting on the edge of the pool.
Virgil Vandergrift presses the witness for more information. anything at all, and is told the property had a long, distinctive driveway.
We went and got aerial photographs of the entire area, looking for a large building that would be sitting back off the road with a curvy driveway.
And 20 miles north of Indianapolis, they spot a property that matches the description. Is this the dark, mannequin-filled mansion? An investigator takes Tony Harris for a closer look.
Nobody was home at the time, so he was able to get out and walk around the house. And he could look through the window and see that it had an indoor pool.
Tony Harris is almost certain that this is the property where he had his encounter with Brian Smart. But who owns it?
We researched the property tax records. We found out that the person paying the property taxes there was a Herbert Baumeister.
Herb is a family man. Local police can't believe that he has anything to do with the missing men.
Law enforcement agencies in Hamilton County, which is where the property is located, were just not cooperative at all. That was really slowing things down. At the time, I thought, well, they were just trying to protect some rich people in a high-class area.
Police say there's not enough evidence to question Baumeister. So Tony Harris gets some more.
About a year later, he was at one of the bars, and lo and behold, there was Brian, who obviously had been keeping a low profile, but there he was. And as he had been instructed to do by the police, he followed Brian out of the bar when he left, and he was driving the same car he had driven when Brian had taken him to this mansion. And he wrote down the license plate and gave it to the police.
Lo and behold, it came back registered to Herb Baumeister.
Indianapolis police visit the Baumeister mansion and find Julie home alone.
They knocked on the door, and they said they were there to investigate a homosexual homicide. She said, "What is a homosexual homicide?"
She just said, no, that can't be, and didn't cooperate.
But then Julie remembers the skull that was found 2 years earlier. And in June 1996, while Herb is away at the lake house, she allows police to search Fox Hollow Farm.
We got to a place that there was a clearing, and she explained that's where she'd found it. While she was talking, or we were ready to walk away, one of the officers noticed a bone, and it looked like the humerus. I looked down, and there were human teeth, 3 or 4, about where I was standing, with what appeared to be finger bones. And things got pretty exciting at that point.
Immediately, that became a crime scene. In the end, they found the remains of 11 different people.
Is this some special place where Herb would have been?
There were some remarkable occurrences during that search. In that evening on the news, they found a bone. One of the lab technicians out at Hamilton County Sheriff's, you could see her pick it up, and there's dangling from the bone was a pair of handcuffs.
The discovery of human remains sends chills down the spines of some local residents.
Eventually, when neighbors saw what happened, they told the police, you know, we found some bones in our yard too. And actually, there were so many, there was a creek that ran behind the house, and kids used to find bones there. And they found so many that it was known among the neighborhood children as Boney Creek, strangely enough. But they assumed they were raccoons or animals that had died.
Julie is overcome by shock at the discovery of the mass grave. But the police have more pressing things on their minds. Like, where are Herb and the children?
Actually, her daughters were with her, but their son was with Herb at the lake house that his mother owned.
Frankly, my thought was, she's safe, but is her son safe? I was really concerned about that. And in my own mind, I was thinking what I needed to do so I can retrieve the boy.
Julie's attorney, Bill Wendling, fears for what may happen if Herb hears of the discovery at Fox Hollow Farm. He arranges an emergency child custody order. It allows sheriffs to confront Herb at the lake house and take his son to safety. But they don't have enough evidence to arrest Herb.
But by the time the police went back to the lake house, when there was enough evidence to arrest Herb, he was gone.
Despite the thousands of bones in her yard, Julie Baumeister still holds out hope that her husband is not involved.
Julie Baumeister said, I'm not sure that Herb has done anything out here wrong. She said, because I thought, knowing Herb, I thought that maybe he'd kill himself if he was really involved in this. And he had, you know, if that hasn't happened, I don't know if he's involved in this. I thought it was kind of an odd statement that, you know, she knew him better than me.
With Herb on the run, the discoveries at Fox Hollow Farm make headlines across the nation. And 8 days later, Herb writes the story's final chapter.
Mr. Baumeister had killed himself.
He left a rambling 3-page suicide note that talked about the failing business and that his marriage was over and the problems he and Julie were having, but he made absolutely no reference to the killings or to any of the missing men.
But Herb's note does contain a final farewell to his children.
It was an odd statement. It said that he was going to eat a peanut butter sandwich and then he was going to go to sleep.
That morning, attorney Bill Wendling is tasked with informing Julie of her husband's death.
Julie's reaction was, she knew, I'm there at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning, that it was something substantial. And I explained to her that they had found Herb and that he was committed suicide. And the children were just coming down the stairs as I was trying to explain that to her. And of course, you know, she acted adversely to that information and was quite upset for the children. I was concerned about their mental well-being. I mean, it's a huge shock that's going on for those kids. And it was an emotional scene.
Soon after, Julie Baumeister and her children move out of Fox Hollow Farm. They turn their backs on the leaf-strewn yard, drive up the long, curved driveway, and try to start again.
She went from living in $1 million estate to literally seeing her life fall apart, her husband of 25 years be accused of unspeakable crimes, and before he could say anything, take his own life. But I believe she and the children have tried to rebuild their lives as best they can. She said to me at one point that whatever he did, that will not destroy the love the children had for their father. Whether that will remain true their entire lives, I don't know.
11 sets of bones are found at Fox Hollow Farm. Only 4 of the victims are positively identified. Herb Baumeister takes the secrets of how they died to his grave.
Police were never able to question him, never able to charge him. But there's little doubt as to what he had been up to. He was the most prolific serial killer in Indiana history.
From the start, Virgil Vandergrift believed a serial killer was involved. And Herb Baumeister turned out to be a perfect fit for the profile Vandergrift created.
So at the time, my profile said that he would be a white male, no later than the age of 40, that would be educated, married, had children, fitting within the community. No one would suspect that he would be a serial killer, not even his wife.
And according to Vandergrift, Herb's suicide also fits with the profile of a serial killer's psyche.
A true serial killer is, I'm in control, and you're not going to get any information because I'm in control. A true serial killer will take the information with him to the grave.
And it's not just Fox Hollow Farm's secrets that Baumeister might have taken to his grave. Many believe he may also be responsible for murders of homosexual men found in neighboring Ohio in the late 1980s.
Herb has been suspected of possibly being a serial killer known as the I-70 Strangler, which is named after a interstate that runs through Ohio and Indiana.
I had the opportunity to meet with and talk with investigators from Ohio. And it is clear to me that before Mr. Baumeister bought the property in northern Indianapolis area, that his victims would be picked up and then he would drive over to Ohio and get across the border and dump their bodies.
Perth, Australia, has been called the most remote city on Earth. 10,000 miles separated from North America. Europe is 20 hours away by plane. For some, the isolation is intolerable. For others, it's part of the attraction. What better place could there be to hide from your past?
It's kind of odd who he is, what he had done, and he's here and nobody knew it.
I'd used that term, your jaw dropped, many times in my life. I'd never actually seen it happen until I broke the news that this man had killed his wife and chopped her head off with an axe.
Erica Bedford has been a motorcycle lover her whole life. But back in 1980, there was one ride she wishes never happened.
We took this beautiful drive down to Sausalito, and we pull up to the stop sign. And in the second lane to the right is a gentleman on a brand new Harley Davidson.
Lovely day for a ride.
The man straddling the glistening motorcycle
No, I just love it out here.
is a refined Englishman named Michael Telling.
He met me at Sausalito. Didn't know anything about him. He seemed like such a nice country gentleman.
Michael's more than a nice country gent. He's an heir to the billion-dollar fortune of the Vesties, Britain's second wealthiest family after the Royals. With money like that, the Vesties usually get whatever their hearts desire. And what Michael desires is 18-year-old Erica.
He'd been so taken by Erica Zumstead that on that occasion, the first meeting, he bought her an opal necklace.
I said to my father that evening, I said, please, I don't want to hurt Michael's feelings. I like him, you know, but I'm not comfortable with this person buying me things, and I'd like to be his friend. So, Dad, could you talk to Michael and tell him I'd rather be his friend? And so Dad said, well, maybe, you know, my other daughter, you could visit for a little while.
Erica's sister Monica is 6 years older and a recent journalism school graduate.
Within a week, he'd arranged for a meeting with the older sister, with Monica, and he transferred his first affections from Ricky to Monica.
William Vesti began his livestock and shipping empire in 1890s Liverpool, England. But his descendants are more likely to be found here, in the rolling hills of the Cotswolds, enjoying their 6,000-acre private sporting estate.
They certainly are still extremely rich family, and also extremely close to the British establishment aristocracy.
Michael Telling's estate is in nearby Buckinghamshire. Known as Lambourne House, it's more understated, but still prestigious.
From the time he turned 18, he got access to the Vesti millions. He had a fabulous income. It was in the realms of about £30,000 a month.
It's into this world of wealth and privilege that Michael brings his new California bride, Monica.
And now, I think it became pretty obvious to Monica very quickly that this was a man of enormous wealth.
So special, and I'm so touched that you remembered. Thank you.
But it's not just vast sums of money that attract Monica to this British gent.
There is no doubt that Michael had some ability to present himself in a very beguiling way. He certainly told lots of fanciful stories about his past, and it appears that Monica fell for that.
Thank you.
Michael didn't have to work. Monica didn't have to work. She had tons of money to spend. A young married couple, and having a blissfully wonderful time. And the early days of their marriage sound terrific.
But wedded bliss is not to last. In less than 2 years, Michael is living alone in Lambourne House. He says his marriage is over.
Michael told everybody Monica had left him.
He would be telling them stories about how that she's returned to the United States.
If Monica has returned to California, why hasn't her family heard from her? And why does her sister Erica have an ominous sense that something is terribly wrong?
Suddenly, I felt the most violent feeling inside. Angry. I didn't know why. It was March 29th, 1983. Suddenly, I felt the most violent feeling inside. Angry. I didn't know why. I didn't know what it was about till 5 months later. 5 months later, I got a call. Your sister's dead.
A week before that phone call, a man had discovered a decomposing body in an English forest. But identifying it proves difficult.
It was a headless corpse.
The discovery makes national news in Britain. In an effort to ID the victim, police released details of the clothing worn by the corpse.
The pictures of that clothing send chills down the spine of one reader. She last saw it worn by 26-year-old Monica Telling, wife of the Vesti heir, Michael Telling. Is it just a coincidence that no one's seen Monica for 5 months?
She contacted the authorities and said, you know, Monica's been gone a long time. That shirt looks very familiar.
Near the village of West Wickham, police knock on the door of Monica's husband's mansion and begin a search.
And then in one of his favourite Mini Coopers, they uncovered, most gruesomely, Monica's head.
For 5 months, Michael had been telling friends that his wife had left him. How will he explain her severed head in his car? And just what brought this love story to such a brutal end?
This good-looking, charming young English gentleman and this vivacious young American woman, and that should be a recipe for a great romance. What would end it tragically and fatally?
Police question residents of West Wickham and discover that in the lead-up to Monica's murder, all had not been rosy at Lambourne House.
The stories in the village of their wild parties and their drinking were fairly legendary, so there was obviously a fair bit of abuse of alcohol going on. They were having a wild time, so there was plenty of booze and, by some accounts, plenty of drugs, and it just progressively started to work down.
The life of excess reveals another side to Monica's English gent.
Don't think I've forgotten about you either!
She ended up with a man who was able to explode into these disastrous tantrums and be very threatening towards her.
Michael has a history of mental illness.
He was definitely in psychiatric institutions from a young age. He had a propensity for violence. He attacked his mother with a carving knife at one point and definitely had mental health problems, no question about it.
Some say his wife tried to help him through his psychiatric problems.
Let's do it right here on the bench.
Others, that she made his condition worse.
What he said is she taunted him mercilessly, he claims, about his sexual inadequacies.
Do we do that? Yeah. No, we're not gonna do that. You're too boring.
When police find Monica's head in the trunk of Michael's car, he admits he killed her 5 months earlier. But why? What pushed this refined English gentleman over the edge?
The Monica that was portrayed by the defense, this was a gold-digging, drug-taking, bisexual abuser.
In June 1984, a car containing British multimillionaire Michael Telling arrives at Exeter Court. He admits to killing his 26-year-old American wife, Monica. But so far, the world doesn't know how she died or why.
Michael Telling was able to get his very best defense team, and that defense team set out to make sure that Monica was portrayed in a very bad way.
Michael's lawyers try to prove he was driven to kill by his wife's behavior, and they present a defense that will shock the court.
See? You're so nasty. Like this.
There was an elaborate story told about lesbian encounters, about him being embarrassed that she was pushing into his face and constantly taunting him.
This is what I want.
And that was the defence that he took to court.
The Monica that was portrayed by the defense, this was a gold-digging, drug-taking, bisexual abuser.
According to the defense, it was years of this abuse that compelled Michael to snap one day in March 1983.
Ooh, you've got your little gun, Michael. What are you gonna do with it? Shoot me?
All we know is what Michael said in the court.
Why don't you shoot me? Hit me right here.
There was a confrontation. She was taunting him about his sexual behaviour.
We could do it right here on the bench, Michael. No, you wouldn't do that because you're too boring. Come on, shoot me right here. I dare you.
He lost it. He snapped and he shot her.
Come on, what are you waiting for?
Psychiatrists testify that Michael was driven to murder by an irresistible impulse.
What they wanted to do was to make sure that he wasn't convicted of murder, that in fact, the jury would come back with a verdict of manslaughter through diminished responsibility. The way that they did that was to assassinate the character of Monica.
The portrait painted by the defense is one that Monica's sister Erica doesn't recognize.
She wasn't a failing, blubbering drunk. She wasn't a money grabber. She wasn't a lesbian. None of it's true.
Monica's family believe that Michael planned the thing meticulously, that he bought the gun with the express purpose of killing Monica, and that the way that he then treated her body afterwards and the eventual dumping of it was part of a plan that he had well before he shot her.
As far as I'm concerned, my feeling is it was premeditated and it was murder.
You, ungrateful, common, social climbing tart!
To many, Michael's actions after the shooting are more shocking than the killing itself.
And then he took her body. I think he moved it to one of the bedrooms. Then he moved her body to the sauna. She sat there for 5 months. Somewhere at the end of 5 months, I don't know why, Michael decided he better remove her body. He took her body 130 miles away to Exeter, and he dumped her body. And right there is where he decapitated her. He took an axe and cut her head off.
Michael took the head back to his home in Buckinghamshire with him.
Michael later says he did this because he wanted part of his beloved wife with him always at Lambourne House. But is that the real reason?
This was either an expression of his still undying love for her, that he wanted to keep a part of her, or it was a way of avoiding the dental records if the body was found, so that it would make it more difficult to identify the body.
Michael didn't cut her head off because he couldn't do anything to her head. He cut her head off to hide the evidence.
The court hears that in the 5 months between killing Monica and dumping her body, Michael takes other steps to avoid detection. He uses Monica's ATM card to make it appear that she's still alive, and even hires a private detective
My wife's gone missing.
to look for her.
I need you to find her.
Michael Telling set out a very clever false lead. He hired a private eye and set the private eye to work, allegedly looking for his missing wife.
There is evidence that Telling concealed his crime and that it may have been premeditated. But in June 1984, a British court acquits him of murder.
But he was found guilty of manslaughter due to diminished responsibility. He was given a life sentence.
Even in prison, Michael allows himself little luxuries. While he was awaiting trial, he had sizzling steak dinners delivered to his cell and washed them down with a glass or two of claret. Now he's a convicted killer. Those privileges are curtailed. But he can take solace in the fact that even while he's behind bars, his wealth is booming.
While in prison, he was still having money into his bank account from the trust. And this is substantial amounts of money, running probably into millions.
In Great Britain, a life sentence in many cases means just 10 years in prison. Michael Telling is released in 1994.
Within weeks, he had left the country, travelled to Australia, and bought a $750,000 Australian dollar house.
Michael begins an anonymous new life in a new country. No one uncovers his dark past until 2009, when journalist Paul Murray receives a tip.
I got an email from a person who reads my column in the newspaper saying that she had a story to tell me about a man who had recently died and he had a fascinating past and that I should look into it.
Soon after Michael Telling's death from diabetes at age 59, his face once again graces a newspaper's front page.
Well, they found out about his past when my story made page 1 of the newspaper. Everyone who knew Michael Telling in his time here in Perth, yeah, they got to know about it.
News of Michael Telling's demise does little to soothe Erica Bedford's loss. A loss she believes she sensed back on March 29th, 1983.
I felt Monica. I felt her die. People think that's crazy. I don't give a rat's you know what, because I literally felt the fear, the horror, the trauma.
That this man had the capacity to do that to someone he'd fallen in love with only 2 years before and brought to the United Kingdom to have a wonderful life together. That's the thing that absolutely shocked everybody.
On the surface, they had it all: money, charm, and grace. But deeper down, a dark side was waiting to burst forth. Herbert Baumeister's family man facade concealed a lethal lust. And when Michael Telling's mask slipped, he was anything but a well-mannered gent. Wealthy on the outside, wicked on the inside. Malice hid beneath the skin of these devils in disguise. Till next we meet behind mansion walls, I'm Christopher Mason.
In our first story, Behind Mansion Walls, a Wild West wrenching dynasty.
Pound for pound, the toughest guy I ever met in my life.
And the murder that brought it to its knees.
I mean, gosh, he could have bought me and sold me 1,000 times.
And later,
she managed to get her fist around his testicles, and she squeezed for all she was worth.
The scandal that rocked the British aristocracy to its foundations.
You can't accuse a lord of the realm of being a murderer.
I'm Christopher Mason. Some of the most intriguing whodunits have taken place behind mansion walls. Was it Colonel Mustard in the library with the candlestick? Or did the butler do it? These moneyed mysteries have baffled the best and brightest minds for years. But are we now getting closer to the truth?
Osage County, the heartland of Oklahoma's Great Plains.
As we entered the gate, we continued for 5.5 miles down the road to get to the ranch. I had never realized there was a ranch this size.
The only thing bigger than the Cross Bell Ranch is the mystery that surrounds it. In 1970, this is the domain of 32-year-old E.C. Mullendore III.
E.C. Mullendore was the owner of the largest ranch at that time in Osage County.
And the largest bank balance. E.C.'s net worth is estimated at over $37 million. More than $230 million in today's money.
Hello.
Yeah. I mean, everything up there was nice. They like to show it off.
Andy Surratt is a former Osage County veterinarian and friend of E.C.
I mean, gosh, he could have bought me and sold me 1,000 times, you know, but we become real close friends, I thought.
From his mansion at the center of the ranch, E.C. can look out on the 4 points of the compass and know that the horizon belongs to him. But on September 26, 1970, E.C.'s world suddenly closes in on him.
There's been a shooting at the Mullendore Ranch.
And who's being shot?
E.C. Mullendore. I think he's dead.
I was called at about 4:30 or 5 a.m. on the morning of September the 27th by an attorney here in town, and they had requested my assistance to provide protection for Linda Mullendore and for her family. E.C. Mullendore had been shot the previous evening. We didn't know what we were getting into as we drove to the ranch.
So far, everything police know is based on the statement of the only eyewitness, E.C.'s personal bodyguard, Chub Anderson. He told this story.
They had just returned from on the ranch somewhere around 11 o'clock that night. E.C. went down in the basement and was eating some dinner which had been left over by one of the maids. And Chub was upstairs running bathwater. Heard a shot go off downstairs. He immediately ran downstairs. As he entered the room, he was accosted by 2 men in suits who shot him through his right rear shoulder, and then they ran up the stairs. Chub pursued them. He had a .25 automatic in his waistband. Discharged his firearm, shooting a number of shots at the sliding glass door and out the glass door. After discharging his firearm, Chub went back downstairs. Found E.C. shot between the eyes.
E.C. is dead when the ambulance arrives. But instead of leaving his body at the crime scene, medics take it to the hospital, compromising the evidence.
The biggest mistake was removing that body. He was immediately cleaned up. He was immediately scrubbed.
Cleaning the body removes potential traces of the attacker's blood or gunpowder residue on E.C.'s hands. But wounds on his skull suggest there was a struggle before E.C. died. So did he fight back? Did he shoot first? Police can't tell.
Once that body was removed, there was no way to reconstruct that crime scene at that time.
Sherman York was a former employee of the Cross Bell Ranch.
I went out to Mullendore during the summer of '71, and my job was just to do maintenance for Miss Mullendore, whether it was getting out her trash, washing the windows, taking care of her dogs, just doing our jobs for her.
But Sherman never expected his duties at Cross Bell Ranch would include cleaning up after a fatal shooting.
I had heard that he had been shot through the windows at his house and everything, and they didn't know who it was. And I thought it was a tragic deal for him. When I drove up out there, I could see it was 4 to 5 bullet holes in the sliding glass doors. The gunshots was still there, the holes. And then when we opened up the door to clean it up, the floor was still kind of sticky. But I couldn't believe I'm out here cleaning up a place where someone has been shot, you know. But we got all that and put it in trash bags and cleaned up.
Law enforcement now has only the testimony of EC's bodyguard, Chubb Anderson, to rely on. But is he telling the whole story?
Chubb could play the part of anything. I mean, he's a good actor. Chubb would come into the office with EC a lot. They'd run together a lot. I think it's just the fact that EC liked somebody with him, somebody to talk to, confide in, and Chubb was that person.
Chubb is a notorious ladies' man. Some say he has eyes for the boss's wife.
Chubb had a way with the women. He had a cute way about him and a cute style and kind of an all-shucks type way with him. Never had any trouble finding women or picking women up.
But Chubb is also every inch a man's man.
Probably pound for pound the toughest guy I ever met in my life. Loved to fight, loved to finish fights. EC had an awful big mouth for a little guy and could get things started, particularly after he had had a few drinks.
Let's see what you got.
And he would leave it up to Chubb to finish. He was an absolute excellent shot with a rifle and with a pistol.
Some fine shooting, Chubb.
Yeah, he was great. Fast, too. I don't know if he ever shot anybody, but I guess he would if he needed to.
Can I get you a drink? Oh, thank you.
It turns out that in the months leading up to the murder, EC had been doing business with some dangerous individuals. And if a fight started this time, it would take more than Chubb's fists to finish it.
The problem is, E.C. Mullendore isn't alone in his dreams of building a vast empire, and he may have come up against a foe who feels no compunction to follow the code of the Wild West. Forget 10-gallon hats and cowboy boots. These gentlemen are all about custom suits and concrete shoes.
There had been all sorts of unsavory characters on the ranch. There had been, quote, members of the mafia or syndicate from Kansas City on the ranch, people with criminal histories. Everyone was packing guns.
EC has borrowed millions of dollars from what you might call alternative sources.
What can I do for you boys?
I ain't no pain, Mr. Mullendore. Barry.
Chubb was very upset about all of these mafia-type characters on the ranch.
I know. It's been a hell of a year with those cattle sales.
The Cross Bell Ranch may be worth a fortune, but it's also mortgaged to the hilt. EC owes his various creditors over $12 million.
I'll make the money as soon as I can. You will get your money. Believe me.
Did the mob get tired of waiting?
There were so many rumors flying around about these two men with suits on. Led to a lot of speculation about a mafia hit.
If it was a professional job, why didn't they finish off Chubb, too?
It didn't make sense to me that these were two hitmen, why they would leave him alive after just assassinating E.C. Mullendore. Didn't make sense.
A week after the murder, private investigator Gary Glanz is given access to the crime scene and run some tests.
Went upstairs, turned the water on in the bathroom where Chubb allegedly heard the gunshots from. We discharged firearms in the basement with the water running. You couldn't hear gunshots coming from the basement with the water running. We turned the water off. You could only hear a faint pop, possibly like a book falling off of a shelf, but not like the discharge of a firearm.
Glenn shares his information with police, who have their own ideas about what really happened.
The theory by law enforcement was that EC had shot Chubb and that Chubb had taken the gun away from him and killed EC. There was also some speculation that EC had committed suicide and that Chubb had covered it up.
Police hear that prior to his death, EC's marriage was on the rocks, and he'd been drinking heavily.
Will you stay if I stop drinking?
I'd visited with EC probably 10 days before his death, and he had a lot of problems.
That's my last drink right there.
There's a possibility of losing his family.
Come on, Linda. You can't leave me. Not now.
It's not just the drinking. It's the people you bring here. It's you.
Losing the ranch, probably.
I'm doing this for the children. Linda!
So was it murder or suicide? A professional hit, a crime of passion, or an inside job? To Gary Glanz, only one thing's certain. Chubb Anderson knows the truth.
Little did I know at that time that it was going to take 41 years to get the answer.
Fall of 1970 in Osage County, Oklahoma. E.C. Mullendore III, scion of the most powerful ranching family in the county, is shot dead in his mansion.
Gene. It was all over. I mean, newspapers, TV, radio, everything, you know, because it was an empire.
There's been a shooting at the Mullendore Ranch.
The only witness is E.C.'s friend and bodyguard, Chubb Anderson, who says he was also shot by two unidentified attackers before he chased them away.
There was some speculation of the contract hit by the mafia.
But parts of Chubb's story don't add up. The police wonder whether rumors of marital breakdown could be linked to E.C.'s murder.
Linda Mullendore had recently moved to Tulsa to get off the ranch with her family and to get out of the chaos and the turmoil that was going on the ranch at that time.
That's my last drink right there.
In the lead up to his death, E.C. and his wife Linda are fighting, and their marriage is falling apart.
It's not just the drinking. It's the people you bring here. It's you.
Come on, Linda.
Linda says she wants a divorce and leaves E.C. alone in his mansion with only Chubb to keep him company. So why does Linda leave? Is it E.C.'s drinking? Is she having an affair? Or have E.C.'s debts placed unwelcome limits on his wife's extravagant lifestyle?
Talk around Pawhuska at one time was that Linda would weekly fly down to Dallas to have her hair fixed or go down and buy a new dress or something.
Linda's favorite spot in Dallas is the posh department store Neiman Marcus. In one whirlwind visit, her purchases are said to include 13 pairs of shoes, a $5,000 mink coat, and a merry-go-round for the children. The final tally? More than $20,000 on the Mullendore account.
But by mid-1970, E.C. is finding cash like that hard to come by. He's $12 million in debt, and with a $15 million life insurance policy, he's worth more dead than alive. With debt collectors at the door and divorce on the horizon, E.C. enters his final hours.
The night of that shooting, Linda's attorneys had made arrangements with the Osage County Sheriff's Office to serve divorce papers on E.C. Mullendore.
And it's not just the sheriffs who are in on the plot.
Chubb had agreed to assist the Osage County Sheriff's Office in serving those papers.
What the hell are you doing? Oh, the cops. I don't care. Step on a Chubb. No.
Chubb pulled over per the agreement. E.C. became very irate with Chubb for pulling over.
Drive! Come on!
Chubb sort of unnerved at that point, wanting to get E.C. served, but still having a loyalty to his boss, floorboarded that Chevrolet Chevelle.
Chubb would step on it. Let's go!
They had a high-speed chase over the ranch. Chubb knew that ranch like the back of his hand. Needless to say, with all the dust and commotion, he outran that deputy sheriff. In fact, chuckled about it and laughed about it later, how he left that deputy, you know, in the dust.
According to one theory, E.C. is furious that Chubb conspired against him. And when they arrive back at the ranch, he lets Chubb know about it.
You betrayed me! You betrayed yourself when you got involved with those gangsters.
Police believe E.C. may have shot Chubb in anger, causing Chubb to retaliate. But Chubb says that's not the way it went down.
Chubb categorically from day one denied that E.C. shot him, and he took the gun away from him and shot him.
8 months after the shooting, private investigator Gary Glanz arranges to meet Chubb.
I was driving a black Ford Thunderbird with big whip antenna, and that car was wired for sound. We spent 2 hours him reminiscing about his relationship with E.C. Mullendore and the family.
I just want to know why everybody thinks I'm a guilty person.
How much he loved him.
But I liked him. I really lost one of the best friends I ever had.
What happened after E.C.'s death and how it affected him. And I was still of the theory that he had disarmed E.C. and in a fit of passion, shot and killed E.C.
I'll tell you one thing. Well, you're closer than anybody's been.
He said, if I ever think I'm gonna die, I want you to get there quick, because I'm gonna tell you what happened.
After one further meeting, Glanz loses touch with Chubb, but continues to work for Linda Mullendore as she fights for E.C.'s life insurance. In November 1971, Linda finally gets her payout.
At that time, it was the largest amount of money ever paid in the history of U.S. insurance on an individual death.
Is that huge insurance payout why E.C. took a bullet? Folks have been killed for less. The only one who might know for sure is Chubb Anderson. And in 1972, he disappears. He's sighted in Kansas, then Mexico, then Montana. Finally, in 2006, kidney failure forces him back to society.
They had refused him dialysis because the name that he was using while in Montana, that guy had been dead for 25 or 30 years. And once they figured out who Chubb was and ran the computers, they saw that there was an outstanding warrant, and they transported him back to Kansas.
Chubb serves a year in prison on an unrelated drug charge. He's released in 2008.
And in September of 2008, my phone rang one day here at the office.
Chubb asks Gary Glanz to visit him at his apartment. It's been almost 40 years.
Certainly, we had both aged up, wrinkled up, and I'm looking at a former shell of a man that I knew 38 years ago, and I'm sure he was too.
Chubb knows he hasn't got long to live.
You ever gonna tell me what really happened?
Chubb began to confide in me about the shooting that night.
It's like you said, Gary.
Chubb admitted that he had lied to me originally on the night of the shooting, and He indicated that there was indeed a fight that night. A fight between EC and Chubb. It was a spontaneous fight.
You guys ain't even think you're doing that, Chubb. You betrayed me. You betrayed yourself when you got involved with those gangsters.
It was a fit of rage. It was a fight of passion. It was a brutal fight. He described not being able to knock EC out. That he was hitting him and that he wouldn't stay down. Chubb made a decision that he was going to end it that night, and he ended it. He stated if he hadn't ended it, he knew he was going to be looking over his shoulder for the rest of his life.
But the biggest revelation is yet to come.
There was another man there.
What the sheriff and no one else knew, and what no one knew until Chubb told me, was that there was somebody else there the night of that shooting. They staged the crime scene. Chubb, he knew the only way his story would be believable was if he took a bullet.
Do it.
I asked Chubb during that conversation.
Chubb, you gotta tell me how it feels to know you're gonna take a bullet.
And he said, Gary said, it'll make your ass pucker.
In November 2010, just months after he confesses to Glanz, Chubb Anderson dies.
I think Chubb wanted to clear this thing up before he went to his maker. I'm satisfied that Chubb told me the truth. I'm also satisfied that we have passed all this information along to the appropriate authorities, and now the ball is in their court.
Chubb never confessed to law enforcement, which means, officially, the murder of E.C. Mullendore III remains unsolved. But there still may be one person who can end the mystery, the third man.
That's where the story is now, for that person to come forward and to clear this thing up and to bring closure for everyone.
Half a century ago, British society is fiercely divided along class lines.
There was no social mobility. You were either upper class or working class.
In London, the divisions are literally set in stone. Like a monopoly board, the city is separated into rich and poor. Take a ride to the blue end of town, and you'll find the old money set.
The best addresses in London: Belgravia, Kensington, the prime streets.
For a house on this part of the board, you could be looking at $150 million. Only the highest class of society lives here, in peace and tranquility. Until November 7th, 1974, when all that changes.
A bleeding woman runs in to the Plumber's Arm pub in Belgravia, screaming.
Somebody's just tried to kill me. He's in the house.
The desperate woman is none other than Lady Lucan, wife of the distinguished aristocrat, Lord Lucan.
Call an ambulance.
It took a good hour before they discovered the body in the basement. That chain of events kicked off what has become the biggest murder mystery in this country.
The Lucans were long-standing, very historic aristocrats in London. Their house was a very beautiful 3- or 4-story townhouse in Belgravia, which is a very wealthy part of London. Their lifestyle was enviable and luxurious and comfortable.
Journalist Robert Strange wrote a book about Lord Lucan and has researched his life of privilege.
He was probably born with the best silver spoon that you're ever going to have. It was a very privileged, comfortable lifestyle. And as a little boy, he had the best education. He went to Eton, the best private school in Britain. He had everything that he wanted as a child, and that lifestyle continued when he became an adult.
Lord Lucan inhabited a rarefied world, far removed from the concerns of the common man. Not that he was likely to encounter the average man on the street. His lordship was not in the habit of walking anywhere.
Lord Lucan did not know how to buy a pint of milk. His life was a nice Mercedes car to the gambling club, followed by a gambling session that would go on until 4 or 5 in the morning. That was his day at the office.
Lord Lucan is a regular at London's most exclusive private casino, the Claremont Club.
Lord Lucan was a born gambler. He just had it in his blood and he loved it.
As a young man, a one-off win of over $300,000 in today's money earned him the nickname Lucky Lucan. But sadly, since then, he's had trouble repeating such good fortune.
He was universally known as Lucky Lucan. The great irony is that that was probably the least appropriate title. Lucky Lucan was exceptionally unlucky.
Lord Lucan lost millions of pounds. He lost it at the gambling tables. He lost it day in, day out, week in, week out.
Rise.
The money he had, he couldn't have frittered away on his speedboats or fancy parties or holidays to the south of France. He lost it at the gambling tables. Slowly, without people knowing,
Sorry, Mr. Lucan.
he gambled away all of the family fortune, and that's when his marriage problems started.
Lady Lucan is fed up with her husband's gambling ways, and she's not afraid to cause a scene, even in front of the help.
How dare you! Get them to bed immediately!
To Lord Lucan, an outspoken wife is an assault on the natural order.
You're pathetic, you know that?
For heaven's sake.
It was very important that his wife was deferential and subservient to him. And one of the things that started to go wrong with their marriage was that Lady Lucan began to find her own voice and began to assert herself a little more, and that was something that he was never going to stand for.
Determined to make our children as mad and as miserable as you are.
The Lucans begin to fight bitterly, some say violently.
You'll never get the children, do you hear me? Never!
You're a monster!
In 1973, Lord Lucan moves out of the Belgravia mansion. He launches legal action to gain custody of their 3 children,
Smile, Veronica.
claiming his wife is mentally ill
For God's sake, would you please smile?
and therefore an unfit mother.
He had a child custody hearing in the divorce courts.
But Lady Lucan steals the show with testimony that will shock the court.
She suddenly told the court that he engaged in a number of questionable sexual practices. He ordered a rubber exercise suit, and each night she was made to put on this rubber exercise suit and jump up and down doing exercises at the end of the bed until she was hot and sweaty. And then he would allow her to take the suit off and take her into his bed.
The court is scandalized and grants Lady Lucan custody of their children. Lord Lucan has been betrayed and humiliated by his own wife. Worse still, he needs to sell the Belgravia mansion to pay off his debts. but his wife won't move out.
He was in deep financial trouble from his gambling. His wife had custody of his children.
If only Lady Lucan would disappear, Lord Lucan's problems would vanish too. And then, as if by magic,
blood everywhere, all over the walls.
He said there had been a fight, that someone had been trying to hurt his wife.
A seemingly random attack, and Lord Lucan's problems are solved.
Veronica!
Or are they?
Lady Lucan had accused him of being the attacker.
Didn't do anything.
We can't have a manhunt for a lord. It was dark. It was raining. It was a winter's night, November 1974.
Lucky Lord Lucan, distinguished aristocrat, is driving out of London to the southern town of Uckfield.
He fled to a place called Grant's Hill House, a country manor house that was owned by Ian Maxwell Scott, the money man in Lord Lucan's gambling set. He was in London that night. He wasn't at the house, but Susan Maxwell Scott was in.
He said there had been a fight, that someone had been trying to hurt his wife, and he had been involved in the fight trying to save her.
Lucan says he needs to write some letters to a close friend, explaining what happened.
Stay as long as you need.
He wrote 2 letters saying something horrendous had gone wrong that night. It wasn't my fault, but I know I'm going to be hung out to dry for this murder.
Lucan claims he was passing his Belgravia home when he saw an intruder inside with his wife. He ran in to help her. But the attacker escaped. Then, in the basement, he made a horrifying discovery.
Blood everywhere, all over the walls. A crime of passion, without doubt.
His children's nanny, dead and stuffed inside a sack. And his wife beaten within an inch of her life.
Veronica! Veronica!
But Lucan's nightmare was only just beginning.
You did this!
Lady Lucan had then turned on him and had accused him of being the attacker rather than her saviour.
Didn't do anything. What are you saying to me?
Fearing police would pin the murder on him, he flees. Finally, Lucan asks his friend to look after his children because he's just going to lie low for a while. Then, he gets back in the car and drives off into the night.
And as that car goes hurtling down those English country lanes, he escapes a scene quite unbecoming for the 7th Earl of Lucan. His children's nanny has been savagely murdered. His wife is bloodied and shaken, and his lordship is the prime suspect. It's certainly a good time to lie low. The question is, when will Lord Lucan resurface?
Back in London, police comb the crime scene and get a statement from Lady Lucan.
The first thing she said when she woke and was able to talk to anybody was, Lord Lucan did this to me.
A nationwide search for the fugitive Earl of Lucan is launched. The old money set is scandalized.
No, you can't accuse a lord of the realm of being a murderer. We can't have a manhunt for a lord.
When police find Lucan's getaway car at the South England port of New Haven, the evidence left inside might make even the Queen wonder. Maybe lords can be murderers too.
They had found at the house that night what they believed to be the murder weapon, which was a length of lead piping, and it had tape wrapped around it to give a solid handle to hold on to. And in the boot of the car was a length of lead piping with tape wrapped around it to make a handle. And when they forensically tested those 2 pieces of piping, they found that they were from the same piece of pipe. the biggest single clue that they had, that what Lady Lucan had told them was the truth, and that Lord Lucan was the killer.
But why would Lord Lucan kill the nanny? And where is he now? Did he escape across the channel to France?
There was only one ferry that night, just before midnight, and I've spoken to the police officer who said I saw everyone go onto that ferry and no one matched the description of Lord Lucan. So how did he get out the country? Or did he?
London, November 1974. Sandra Rivet, nanny to the house of Lucan, is brutally murdered. The lady of the house is also viciously beaten, but survives. Lord Lucan says he chased away the attacker, but then fled himself because he feared he'd be blamed for the crime. Sound familiar?
It was actually a plot straight out of the film The Fugitive. A man finds his wife being attacked, fights off the attacker, and then becomes accused of the crime himself.
The difference is that the accuser this time is the victim herself. Using Lady Lucan's statement, police construct their own version of what happened that night.
Lord Lucan set out that night with a clear plan to kill his wife. It was a very good plan, and he would have got away with it if it was not been for one unfortunate error. He knew that his wife, Lady Lucan, at 9 o'clock every night would let herself down into that basement area, would walk down those stairs and would make herself a hot drink before retiring for the night. As she stepped off that bottom step of the stairs, he was waiting.
Lord Lucan attacks in a blind frenzy of blows.
And he was covered in blood.
Lucan stuffs the body into a large U.S. mail sack, then heads upstairs to use the bathroom on the ground floor.
So he goes upstairs. To his horror, who does he meet? His wife.
John, what the hell are you doing here?
For me, that has always been the absolute essence of this astonishing murder story, this moment. Lord Lucan thinks I have just murdered my wife. I have put her upside down in a sack in the basement. And now, there she is, perfectly well, large as life. He flew at her and attacked her as well.
Unlike the nanny, Lady Lucan fights back.
She managed to get her fist around his testicles, and she squeezed to all she was worth. And the pain was such that Lord Lucan dropped the weapon he was carrying. And he just gave up.
It stopped him in his tracks. What had become a frenzied killing was suddenly stopped. He sat there going, what have I done? I've murdered the wrong person.
John, what the hell have you done?
I've killed the nanny.
Lady Lucan was very clever. She sympathised with him. She said,
It's all right. I can help you.
you just have to help me because I'm really hurt. So Lord Lucan helped her to go up one more flight of stairs to her bedroom. And he laid her down on their marital bed. And he walked into their ensuite bathroom. And he was going to get a towel to try and staunch this flow of blood. Lady Lucan heard the taps being turned on, and she seized this opportunity.
Lady Lucan runs for her life, runs out into the street. He has to disappear.
Lord Lucan flees in a borrowed car.
He knew it was the perfect getaway vehicle. That's why he borrowed it.
He was going to use the car to dump his wife's body, but now he has to change plans. He drives to his gambling friend's mansion in Uckfield.
When he went inside, he he entered into the world of protection from the establishment. By going there, he walks into a safety shield.
It's where Lord Lucan writes his letters to a friend, laying out his alibi. And it's the last place he's ever seen alive. Let the conspiracy theories begin.
I think someone else took his car to New Haven on the coast that night. Someone else abandoned it in the early hours of the morning as a nice little diversion that the police would eventually find.
Others doubt this, preferring a more romantic theory.
Lord Lucan did the honourable thing. He threw himself into the English Channel that night.
Yet more theories emerge.
One of his multi-millionaire friends had his own private plane. If I was a gambling man like Lord Lucan, I would bet on the private plane route to get out of the country.
But where did he go?
Ever since the night that Lucan disappeared, there have been sightings from every corner of the world, literally.
Lord Lucan has been spotted in India, Barbados, even New Zealand, where in 2007, he was found living in a car with a pet possum named Redfern. Sadly, they've all been hoaxes, which means that if he is still alive, the noble lord has a remarkable talent for staying hidden. So would the real Lord Lucan please stand up?
The latest evidence supports the theory that Lucan's billionaire gambling friends from the Claremont Club gave Lucky a new life in Africa. In 2012, the former assistant of the Claremont Club's founder came forward, claiming that in 1979, she'd been ordered to arrange for Lucan's children to fly to Africa, where they could be seen by their father.
I think that the whole cover-up worked perfectly. I think he was protected by the Claremont Club, and I think that he lived his days quite happily in a very obscure part of Africa. Proving it is a totally different thing. Maybe we'll get there one day.
Some believe the reason there have been no confirmed sightings of Lord Lucan since 1974 may be because he has altered his appearance.
We know that Lord Lucan had had reconstructive plastic surgery on his nose 6 years before the murder of Sandra Rivet. This was a powerboat accident. He was out, one of his very powerful, expensive powerboats in the English Channel. He hit a bit of debris, went crashing onto the steering wheel and ruptured his septum. Now, he was seen by a plastic surgeon.
That plastic surgeon was Dr. John Watson, whose daughter Carolyn Allen believes Lord Lucan could have made another visit to her father for surgery immediately after the murder.
It would be quite possible if they had him as a surgeon once, if they needed extra things done or surgery done, they would go back to him as a surgeon.
And there's been evidence floated that Lucan could have gone back to that hospital. Now, could they have reconstructed his face and sent him off to a new life in Africa or Europe? It's possible. Could he have been hidden and covered in bandages for 4 or 5 weeks and lived in someone's outhouse in a country house somewhere down here near the south coast undetected? It's possible.
At the time of the murder, Father told me that the police descended upon his practice at Harley Street and asked lots of questions, and it's due to medical ethics, he was not allowed to give any information at all.
And Dr. Watson maintains his strict silence on the subject until his death.
When I last saw him, which was at my mother's funeral, and I said, "Look, Daddy, did you operate on Lord Lucan after the murder?" And he just went, which is what he would do. Father had a sense of humor and he liked mystery, and he wasn't going to give an answer at all.
Like so many of the other tales that surround Lord Lucan's disappearance, for now, the cosmetic surgery theory remains just that, a theory.
This is a murder that still rates as one of the top unsolved murder mysteries in Britain, and some people say the world. It was a murder that shocked the British establishment. A young woman in her prime, of a low social class. She was a nanny and a cleaner, bludgeoned to death in the basement of a flat or house owned by one of the top families in the country, the Lucans. It caused at the time an earthquake that even today is still rumbling on because Lord Lucan has never been found.
A UK gaming agency is now offering 20 to 1 on a bet that Lord Lucan will be brought to justice. At those odds, perhaps the born gambler known as Lucky Lucan might even be tempted to turn himself in. Lord Lucan gambled away his fortune and brought dishonor upon his family's noble name, while E.C. Mullendore tried to rule the Wild West, but it conquered him instead. What really happened to these men of great privilege? The clues are confounding. The truth, elusive. And these moneyed mysteries may yet have one more twist in store. Till next we meet behind mansion walls, I'm Christopher Mason.
In our first story, Behind Mansion Walls,
$7 million homes, had expensive cars, expensive taste in clothing.
A wealthy gent and his Southern belle staged their own civil war.
She went after him with a bat.
And later, a millionaire's TV meltdown.
Is Jana alive? Has she been kidnapped?
I warned you! I warned you!
Can a devoted husband find his missing wife?
And it was almost like a perfect murder.
Please don't kill me!
I'm Christopher Mason. Some women can be wooed by wealth, falling for the man and the bank balance. But big-ticket romance can be costly. Behind mansion walls, the price of love is sometimes life itself.
It's a hot North Carolina summer in July of 1994, when Charlotte police receive a strange invitation.
The attorney called police and said there's a possible dead body at the Hayes home.
Meeting police at the door of his stately mansion is millionaire businessman John Hayes.
He said, I'm Mr. Hayes. I called. The homicide is in the garage. It's a bloody mess. It's over there. It's my wife. She's dead.
Long before the California gold rush, Charlotte, North Carolina was the scene of America's first gold strike. These days, it's the silver towers of big banks that make this city shimmer with wealth. In the exclusive suburb of Montebello, stately southern manors nestle behind manicured hedges. One such mansion is home to John and Fran Hayes.
A beautiful home.
one of the nicest areas of town. Very expensive home, well over $1 million worth.
Beautiful marble foyer with a big, huge staircase leading upstairs. There was a tin bar with a very nice counter and bar seats.
John Hayes makes bags of money, making plastic bags.
He was smart, and he was ambitious, and very good at what he did.
He lived in several $1 million homes, traveled well, had expensive cars, expensive taste in clothing.
Hayes was a wealthy man and had done very well.
Together, Fran and John lead a glittering life, wining and dining the Charlotte social set.
And all that was on the surface, and beneath there was just this miserable existence that they apparently were living within the walls of this fine home.
Thanks for coming. That's fantastic.
Behind closed doors,
What was that all about?
the Hayes marriage is in tatters.
That was politics.
And John likes to drink.
And when the drinking would start, they would get in an argument.
Arguments in the house, fights in the house, you know, pushing and shoving. She would do things to him, and he would do things to her.
She called John every name in the book and said she hated him, wished he was dead. What an awful way to live your life, but that's the life they were living.
Their adopted son is one of the few reasons the couple stays together.
They had adopted a son, and she and her son were very close, and she wanted him to have parents.
John Hayes hires private investigator Ron Gurrett to follow Fran. He discovers that she plays away from home.
Fran liked to go out a lot. She liked to dance. She had a boyfriend. She had 2 boyfriends. She wanted to do things a little bit on the wild side.
When she is home, the wayward wife belittles John about his performance in the bedroom.
Calling him names and complaining that he couldn't perform sexually and that she was not going to be deprived of sex because of his situation.
She would parade around, you know, and then say to John, "Oh, I'm sorry that you're impotent."
And when the millionaire battles lung cancer, his wife delivers a touching sympathy message.
Look what I've got for you, John.
She didn't visit him in the hospital, and when she did come, one time she brought a dead plant.
I'm sure it will help you get better real soon.
She said repeatedly that she wished he was dead, wished he would die.
As he recovers from his cancer, John feels he can't take the taunts any longer.
He suffered this decade of abuse and humiliation by her.
You don't think I've seen the pictures? You're on your back or you're on your knees.
He had told the housekeeper, he told his son, he told an attorney that she was running around on him and she was a terrible wife, and he wanted out of it.
He went to his son and said, "I'm divorcing your mother because I'm tired of what's going on."
And when Charlotte police arrive at John Hayes' mansion on July 12th, 1994, he offers no resistance.
When they arrived, we met at the door by John Hayes, who said, "I'm Mr. Hayes. I called. The homicide is in the garage. It's a bloody mess."
The body's over here. It's my wife. Stand back, sir.
And they opened the door into this grisly scene, and there were blood spatter marks all over the wall. And Mr. Hayes said, "It's over there. It's my wife. She's dead."
What happened to you, sir? I'm not going to say any more until my turn.
When his lawyer arrives, John tells detectives just how his wife ended up dead on the garage floor. The trouble begins when Fran returns from a shopping trip, and John tells her that he wants a divorce.
She never wanted a divorce. Why should she? She had the comforts of life. She had all the money to spend she wanted to. She came home. I think she had been drinking, and all of a sudden, the argument started. And my understanding is she went after him with a bat, hits him in the head, Just because somebody's small doesn't mean they're not feisty. Going back to David and Goliath, you know, small people can hurt you, harm you. And I've seen a lot of small people beat the hell out of some big guys.
John defends himself against blow after blow until he finally snaps.
He viewed himself as the abused spouse, and he had been a victim of that humiliation, that abuse, for a decade or more. And she pushed and pushed until she pushed him to his personal breaking point. She had attacked him with a bat, and he'd taken it away from her and was striking self-defense.
I took it and I defended myself, and I had to fight her off.
When you lose it like that, you don't know how many times you hit somebody. It's just not something you're thinking of. You're thinking of defending yourself.
Fran crumbles to the floor.
She died of blunt force trauma to the head. She took a lot of blows to the head.
Dazed and confused, John blacks out.
I don't think he really knew what he was doing.
He woke up on the floor of the garage, and he didn't know how long he'd been there, but seemed like it'd been hours. And that he didn't know what to do, and he was just in a panic.
Ever the astute businessman, John follows his instincts and calls his attorney.
The attorney called the police and said there's a possible dead body at the Hayes home.
As homicide detective Gary McFadden surveys the scene, some things just don't add up.
So I remember the Rolls Royce and the Mercedes Benz. Certain things didn't look right. The trunk was open. There was like groceries still in the car, windshield wipers up on the car. So we knew that whatever happened, that person came in and didn't have time to take the groceries out.
The body itself is in a strange state.
And so they went over and found her battered, charred, blistered body.
And you could tell that she was attempted to be set on fire. You know, you could smell the remnants of gasoline or kerosene or something on her body, and her clothes and stuff was singed and burnt a little.
Fran's body is not only burnt, it's also decomposing. Detectives conclude that this is not a fresh crime scene. And the clues are yesterday's news.
She was basically covered with newspapers. And then you can say like a couple of days. So, you know, it's like the first layer is like Monday, second layer is like Tuesday. So we know that it kind of went in sequence.
It can mean only one thing.
She was there for a couple of days before he called his, attorney and told him what was going on.
So what really happened in the garage of this mansion?
I open the bag and I see cash and I see jewelry, Rolex watches, rings and stuff. So this was his treasure chest.
Wealthy socialite Fran Hayes has been lying dead in her garage for at least 2 days. Her husband John tells police it was her or him.
Crazy face.
He acted in the heat of passion, in imperfect self-defense, used excessive force, and did not intend to kill her, did not plan to kill her. He wanted a divorce, not a murder on his hand.
Crime scene investigators scour the area and find evidence of bizarre behavior. The floor is freshly scrubbed, and the trunk of a Mercedes is lined with plastic trash bags.
We saw the scratches on the back of the car as though he was trying to lift Fran and dump her.
Fran's millionaire husband, John, is pleading the fifth.
I can't say anything more until my attorney arrives.
Detective Gary McFadden has a challenge on his hands.
We have the 1,000-piece puzzle given to us, but now we just have to make sure that we're putting it in place. I need to do this right.
Sure, yeah.
John Hayes' attorney allows detectives to search the mansion on one condition.
He says you could search everything except what's in that bag. And it was a plastic bag.
And of course, Gary McFadden, the investigator, says, well, that's where we're starting from, and they seize the bag.
And I open the bag, and I see cash, and I see jewelry. It was, okay, here's a stack of $10,000. And I picked up another stack, and here's a stack of $10,000. So he had money bundled together in increments of $10,000, which I believe was $50,000 in cash, some Rolex watches, some absolutely unbelievable men's jewelry, rings, and stuff. So this was his treasure chest.
Staff at John's bank confirm he emptied his safety deposit box the day after Fran was killed. Police look back at John's movements over the last 2 days. Workers at a nearby store tell of a curious shopping spree.
He went to the local supermarket and bought over $100 worth of cleaning products. The people at the supermarket thought that was odd because here's a man in a nice suit and driving a Rolls Royce, and then all of a sudden he buys just a basket full of cleaning products. Then he goes next door to the hardware store with a list of what he wants. That was odd. You know, you have rope, brick cleaning acid, industrial-sized trash bags, and all these things. And, you know, they jokingly at the hardware said, well, he must be going to kill his wife.
Fran's friends also come forward and paint a very different picture of the marriage. 49-year-old Fran is no spoiled society princess. She works tirelessly at a child care center for less fortunate kids.
She would come in the fancy car, in the Rolls Royce or the Mercedes Benz, but when she got out of the car, it was like she stepped into another world and she left all of that behind.
They talked about what a loving person she was, how much the children loved her, how generous she was with her time.
Friends also reveal the dark side of her husband, John.
Her friends described a long history of physical and emotional abuse on his part toward her, where he would grab her, sling her about, call her terrible, profane names, and tell her she was worthless.
What the hell are you doing?
She was quite unhappy, but apparently wanted to keep the marriage going, try to make it work.
You're nothing but a whore!
After one outburst, John forces his wife to an all-time low.
Anything I want.
He had urinated on the floor. I don't know if it was the marble foyer floor or the kitchen.
Clean it up! Clean it up! This is my house, I'll do what I want! Clean it up!
A friend of Fran says that he makes her clean up the mess with her hair.
You're nothing but a bad whore!
When we started peeling back piece by piece, we found out that it was absolutely unbelievable.
Fran's only comfort is in the arms of other men.
She wanted attention. She was an attractive woman. She wanted to dance, and she wanted to have a good time, and John wouldn't do any of this with her.
Detectives discover it was Fran who wanted out of this marriage.
She told her friends that she had met somebody nice, she wanted a real relationship, and she was leaving him.
She was talking to an attorney about divorce, but then how much would Fran get for leaving John? Half. Half would be a lot, millions.
The final nail in the coffin comes from John's buddies at a local bar.
Everybody at the bar knows he hated the wife. He was kind of the man who came to the bar and hated his wife, but he still lived there. And why don't you leave? And they said, well, I can't leave. She would try to take everything.
He said how unhappy he was in his marriage, and the man asked him, well, won't you just get out? And he said, I'm not going to see her get half of all the money I have. I'll kill her before I'll do that.
Detective Gary McFadden has his motive.
Husband is mad. He doesn't want to give up his wealth, his money, and he's not going to let his wife have it.
Police piece together the real story of that stifling summer day. Fran returns home from shopping and tells John that she wants a divorce.
And then that's when we believed that just triggered everything. It was just the last straw. You can do what you want, but you're not taking my money. You're not taking my money. All hell breaks loose between her and John, and this probably was a good fight. I don't think Fran would have just laid down and just took it.
Mr. Hayes knocked her down and dragged her by the neck into the garage, where he proceeded to finish her off.
The enraged husband beats his wife with a baseball bat.
8 serious lacerations to the skull, one with just a massive skull fracture under, contusions all over the arms, shoulders, neck.
When he realizes Fran is dead, John tries to burn the body.
You know, she wasn't burnt bad because once the fire was lit in the garage, it didn't have oxygen to continue, so it didn't burn. So then I think at that time, panic set in and he didn't know what to do.
So John moves to plan B. Drive the body somewhere and bury it.
We looked at it where he put the wheelbarrow next to the Mercedes-Benz and dump her into the trunk, but John had a bad back.
When John tries to lift the body, he can't.
He just decided, well, that's not such a great plan either.
He thinks about burying it in his own yard, but is spotted by the gardener.
He was surprised to see John working in the yard. He thought that was odd because this was definitely not a man who would work in the yard, you know, ever. That is probably the day that he is trying to get rid of the body.
And all through these days after the murder, Fran's body is just left lying on the garage floor.
I've been to a lot of homicides where spouses were killed. It's nothing unusual for the people to start overlooking it. Every time he got in his car, he had to walk right down the steps as to where she was at when he beat her. And in the garage is where everything happened. There was never any hesitation. I've walked down those steps with John. It was almost like it's something that happened to a thing. It's not a person anymore. It's not something that is part of your environment. And that's what happens in a lot of cases. I mean, I've known people sleep in the same bed that they kill somebody. It's just crazy. Could I do it? Could you do it? I don't know. You never know until you experience that.
After all his bungled attempts, John tries to clean up his tracks. Fran's body still lies decaying in the garage, but the tycoon sits tight.
Next day, get another paper, read it, put it over his wife, think about what he's gonna do.
When he's done catching up on the news, John Hayes finally makes a phone call. Not to the police or even his lawyer. No. The Southern gent is expecting company sooner or later, so he wants to look his best.
John had actually had a tailor come over and fit him for a suit. His wife is dead in the garage, and he was getting fitted for a suit. Sure, yeah. Hopefully that was one of the suits he wore to court.
The millionaire is unmasked as a killer without remorse. In November 1996, he goes on trial for murder. Under North Carolina law, he is facing the death penalty.
Well, I would have been urging the jury to return a sentence of a death sentence for a especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel murder that was done for the motive of monetary gain.
Hey, you bitch!
The jury doesn't buy John's elaborate story of self-defense.
He came back with a second-degree murder conviction.
That's murder without premeditation.
What?
He is sentenced to life in prison. After 10 years, John Hayes is released on parole and dies a few years later. At his murder trial, John Hayes' defense team pursued an unusual angle, calling him a victim of battered husband syndrome.
You know, people think it's just a female that gets abused. A male can get just as abused as a female. And he really reminded me of a person who had been abused. You know, you can push in, you can be pushed just so far. I didn't think it was a first-degree murder. I never saw premeditation in this case. It just all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. Nobody was thinking of the consequences. Nobody was trying to kill either the other. It just happened. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just the way things happen.
And in a tragic twist, some believe that the lavish lifestyle John gave his wife helped turn him into a killer.
Some of the jurors felt that the reason he got convicted is because they felt that he had molded her into the woman that she was. Gave her the riches, gave her the fur coats, and let her travel and let her do things. And they felt that he basically molded her into the, they didn't use this word, but the type of person that he got to hate. I never really felt that John was an animal. There are some people that are animals. I never really felt he was an animal.
All Fran Hayes craved was love, but her husband's passion for money destroyed them both.
They should have gone different ways and never went as far as they did. And all of a sudden, basically now, two people are dead.
A shattered husband breaks down in front of the nation.
Bawling, crying. I gotta have my wife back.
Self-made millionaire Bruce Klitch is usually in total control, but his beloved wife is missing.
I can't live like that, please.
Oh, I loved her so much. We were just the most perfect couple. She's the love of my life. I don't know what I'm going to do if she's gone.
Jana Klitch is a smart, successful businesswoman, the daughter of a former state senator. Where is she?
It had all the elements of a mystery and a missing woman. It's pretty good stuff.
With its oil-rich hills and waterfront mansions, Long Beach, California is hot property.
It was a place where one could make a lot of money in Southern California in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s.
Ruling the real estate game in this thriving city are Bruce and Jana Klitch.
Honey, you looking fantastic.
Bruce and Jana were a very successful couple. We would call a power couple.
So are you playing golf?
I sure am.
He wanted to be very successful in business, and he was.
Bruce's beautiful wife comes from good stock.
These are these.
Those.
Her father was Paul Carpenter. He had served in the California state capitol. He was very, very successful, very, very popular with his constituents.
Oh, dress.
The shy senator's daughter is drawn to this brash go-getter.
Yeah, for Saturday night?
Yeah, sure.
He was smarter than the average bear.
Green's my color?
Honey, every color's your color.
He thought he was smarter than everybody else.
He was very outgoing, opinionated, a very strong personality, overpowering almost.
Okay, let's go.
She loved Bruce. Just no getting around it. She just oozed love for that guy.
Over 20 years of marriage, the Klitch's realty company flourishes. Their specialty? Buying and selling repossessed homes. They make millions from others' misfortune.
If you asked me what Bruce's goals were, I would say to make money and to make more money. He wasn't shy about it. He liked to make money.
Their own home is a luxurious mansion in the exclusive Lakewood Country Club. On Monday, August 20th, 2001, Bruce prepares for a busy day.
I'm off to the office now.
Prior to going to work, he had seen his wife. She was fine. She was in the bed. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. He actually left a little early that day to stop off at a viewing.
Jana says she'll see him at the office at 10 a.m.
He got to the real estate business sometime between 10 and 11 that morning, and she wasn't there. Well, he said he immediately got disturbed because he knew that she should have been there, and he started calling her and got no response from the home. So he said he knew something had to be wrong.
By Monday afternoon, Bruce reports Jana missing to police. Los Angeles County Homicide Detective Ray Peavy is called in to investigate.
Is Jana alive? Has she been kidnapped? Does some person have her at this point and is holding her as a hostage? So we really didn't know what to think.
Also missing, Jana's SUV. The LA County Sheriff turns to the public for help.
Everybody that turned on their television during that week was aware of the fact that this woman was missing. They knew who her father was.
It was the sort of story that always got a lot of time, got a lot of ink.
The mystery of the missing senator's daughter hits a nerve with the nation. But as detectives delve into Jana's life, they begin to wonder, is this real estate queen really as advertised?
She had lost weight. She was looking good. She was out exercising, and she was meeting people.
She was ready to spread her wings. She was ready to move on.
It's entirely possible that she did decide to simply leave all this behind, go off, and create a new life for herself.
A few days later, an SUV matching Jana's is found abandoned in a local garage.
The patrolman found it in the city of Signal Hill, which is in the outskirts of Long Beach, just a couple of miles from where Bruce Klitch lives.
And sure enough, the sheriff's department comes over, they open up the garage, and voila.
Forensic examiners and a blood expert inspect the car.
And they say the back area of the vehicle is soaked in what appears to be blood.
And it turned out that was Jana's blood. And so we could establish at that point that her body undoubtedly was in the back of that car and taken most likely for the disposal.
In the cargo area lies a cryptic clue.
The other thing that was found in there was a feather. And the feather looked like it came from possibly a pillow. There was some type of foul play that she may have been kidnapped, may have been a carjacking.
Come on, keep your mouth shut and do as I say. Oh my God. Come and get out.
Investigators are now hunting a gang of carjackers.
Somebody put this car in this garage. We know it wasn't here before Wednesday because the guy that owns the garage had checked on it. We know that the car was missing since Monday. So from Monday to Wednesday, at least, someone had this car and was driving it around.
She got cards?
Caught. No fingerprints are found. So detectives try to lure the suspects out of hiding.
Look on her face.
We're gonna scare the hell out of somebody. We have evidence in the car that's gonna link this car to whoever put it in this garage. Boy, it was like throwing the proverbial bait in the water.
The hulking oil wells of Signal Hill, California, could hold a grisly secret. The blood-soaked car of missing millionairess Jana Klitch was found nearby. Police fear she's the victim of a botched carjacking, and her body has been dumped.
Where the car is found, there are many oil wells. There are many areas where there's excavation, there's deep holes where bodies can be thrown that would never be uncovered, never be found.
We searched that entire area.
The investigators at the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department's Homicide Bureau are called the Bulldogs. Once they get a case, they don't let go until the killer is caught.
The Bulldogs don't dig up any bones, but they do sniff out a clue. A Signal Hill resident calls with a tip-off about the mystery carjackers.
The mother of this kid contacted detectives and said, look, my son was in that car, but he had nothing, I mean nothing to do with the murder of this woman.
Yes, wallet.
The woman tells cops the SUV was left outside her home the morning Jana vanished.
7 o'clock in the morning that day, she said, I looked out my window and I saw this car sitting on the street in front of our house. The car was unlocked, the driver's window was down, there was a woman's purse sitting on the passenger seat. She said, I could see a cell phone in there. And she said, you could actually see a gun in there. And she says, this is a setup.
Her teenage son and his pals are not so streetwise.
They saw the purse there, they saw the cell phone. It was just too tempting to them.
Go on, call, see if someone answers.
Boys will be boys, as they say. The kids get in the car, and the keys are in it. They're driving the car around. There was cash in the purse. They split the money between themselves. They took the cell phone, and they sold it. They found a gun inside the side pocket on the driver's side. took the gun to a local gang member and sold it to him. The boys drove the car around, and after a few days, decided they better do something with the car, so they ditched it.
Investigators tracked down the purse, the phone, and the gun. The teenager's story checks out, and they are cleared of murder. So who dumped Jana's car at the rough end of town?
The windows had been rolled down. The key was in the ignition. I've been a journalist for more than 40 years. The only time I've ever seen that is when someone was trying to get someone to steal the vehicle.
Bruce Klitch is adamant that Jana was still tucked in bed at 6 a.m. the day she disappeared. But by 7 a.m., her car is found abandoned in the Badlands, miles from home. Detectives smell a rat.
Keep your mouth shut and do as we say.
For someone to come over, kidnap her, take her somewhere, kill her, leave the car there, all this within an hour's time, it just doesn't make sense that it could happen.
Detectives retraced Jana's movements that final weekend. On the Friday night, a friend drops her home after an Eric Clapton concert in L.A.
They had a little procedure, the two of them did. She went inside and she turned the house light off, the front porch light off, and then clicked it back on. And that was the sign to Nene that everything was okay inside the house. So Nene drove away believing that Jana was safe.
The next morning, Jana doesn't show up for a workout. It's the first of a string of appointments she misses.
For all of Saturday, all of Sunday, and Monday morning, no one heard from her.
Jana even misses a movie date with her mom.
Janie Carpenter called Jana several times, and at one point in time, she even said, "Jana, I'm very worried. We were supposed to get together today. You didn't come. You haven't called. I'm very worried."
She and her father were very close, and her father was dying. He lived in Houston at the time, and he called Jana daily, or Jana would call him daily. And if she was going to be in a situation where she was not going to be available, she would let him know.
Jana's longtime friend, Jan Baird, is worried. This is totally out of character.
She never canceled anything unless she had to. Oh, she always called. She was very good about that. She never stood anyone up, ever. She didn't call her mother. The fact that she didn't call her mother just ate at me.
The only person who sees Jana alive that weekend is her husband, Bruce.
They decided collectively that they would spend some quality time alone during that weekend, and that they would disregard these previously made plans so that they could just spend time together. That included, according to Bruce, not answering their telephone, letting their answer machine pick up any messages.
Police talked to Bruce's neighbors.
At around midnight or so, which would have been right after Jana would have gotten home, a couple of neighbors said they heard some noises coming from the home. They said that the noises could have been something being moved around, like furniture being moved. There was some loud noises being made. It didn't sound like an argument, just a lot of noises in the home. And they said that was very unusual because it's typically a very quiet house and a quiet neighborhood.
And when detectives interview Bruce's business partner, alarm bells start to ring. He and Bruce return to the house Monday afternoon to search for Jana.
Bruce had to disarm the burglar alarm. In other words, he had to type in a code so that they were able to enter the home without the burglar alarm going on. The only people, as we were able to determine later, that knew what the code was were Bruce and Jana Klitch.
It didn't add up. Didn't make sense that the alarm would be set. That would indicate that she left. And if it was a robbery, if it was a burglary, who would reset the alarm?
When investigators question the Klitch's housekeeper, she is happy to air their dirty laundry.
She looks at the bed, at their bed, and she says, yeah, there's usually a fitted sheet on the bed, and it's missing. Also missing, she's told us, was a pillowcase and a pillow from the bed.
Those king-size sheets are gone. What is on the bed are full sheets. They don't really fit the bed. She noticed something was wrong. She knew that the Klitches never changed the sheets on their own, so she knew somebody else had changed them.
Expert testing on the mysterious feather found in Jana's car shows it matches the other pillow in the Klitch bedroom. Bruce says it's proof that Jana was abducted.
Someone had broken into their home and kidnapped Jana after he saw her Monday morning. And he explained that the reason the sheets were missing and the bedding was because that person that made off with her had probably wrapped her up in these sheets and taken her away.
Jana's friends aren't so sure.
Who would kidnap Jana out of her own home and put sheets that didn't fit back on the bed?
Detectives hone in on the marital bedroom. A forensic search finds traces of blood in the carpet.
Just little things started adding up. The noise that the neighbors heard in the house, the fact that she didn't keep any of her appointments.
Was this crime much closer to home than Bruce Klitch claims?
Everything was telling us that what Bruce had told us to this point was probably not true.
Millionaire businessman Bruce Klitch calls a press conference, pleading for information about his missing wife, Jana.
Here's this man who alternates between being very calm and very distraught.
I can't live with that.
And Bruce is prepared to pay for some answers.
I will offer a $100,000 reward for
It's a strangely smooth performance.
He was repeating over and over, I'll give $100,000 to whoever can bring my wife home. He was trying to point his finger and drive that idea home, and then all of a sudden the flip would come along, and then he's fighting back tears, talking about how much he loved her.
It was the most artificial crying. There was no tears in his eyes, and he would never have won an Academy Award for his performance.
And when reporters ask about business,
You're in real estate, is that right?
Bruce slides right into sales mode.
Is one of the area's most successful husband-wife operators.
And he almost instantly turned off the tears and went into like an infomercial about his and his wife's real estate business and about how they were like one of the top husband and wife real estate teams in Southern California. And, you know, if you ever want to do business, give us a call.
Bruce's slick sales pitch doesn't end there.
A female reporter, one of the camera women that was at the scene, she told us that Bruce hit on her. You know, here he is. He's a grieving husband. His wife's disappeared. And he leaves a note on this camera lady's car. I'd like to meet you later for drinks.
It seems that Bruce's taste for the ladies is just as sharp as his eye for a bug in Long Beach property. He's a serial adulterer. And at one open house, a potential buyer views a little more than he expected.
He was pushing the door and realized that he couldn't get in the door because Bruce was leaning up against the door and he was getting oral sex from one of the local streetwalkers. We talked to another woman who said that he propositioned her and offered to pay her, because she was having some financial problems, offered to pay her to have sex with him.
After Jana's disappearance, Bruce even targets his teenage niece.
He convinces the family to allow his niece to come down and stay with him. She comes down and stays with him. She's like a Jana look-alike, but a younger version. She's 18 years old.
You're more beautiful than your aunt. Look at you.
She tells her parents that Uncle Bruce hit on her.
We'll have a good time.
The family saw that and was aghast at what was going on. My God, they must have been saying, let's find out what happened to your wife before you start hitting on a niece.
As detectives dig deeper into Bruce's life, they find that the Klitch's 20-year marriage was at a breaking point.
Oh, yeah, I heard it.
They found out that they couldn't have children. So then she asked him if they could adopt a child. And he strung her along and said, yeah, we'll look into it. And then finally he just said, no, I don't want to adopt a child. I think she got to the point where she was just fed up with this guy.
Jana starts to spend more time going out without Bruce.
I'm going with Nene, Bruce.
Why are you going? Why?
Because I want to go out and have some fun.
What do you mean, have
Bruce realized that she might be planning to divorce him.
How was he going to get rid of Jana without a divorce, which would strip him from really his power being his business and the assets that he had accumulated. So the one way to get rid of her was to kill her.
No, it's over! Hey, no!
Bruce is also banking on a bonus. Jana's $1 million life insurance policy.
I think it came down to greed. Greed, believe me, is a very, very, very common reason for people to kill, especially a husband and wife thing.
5 months after Jana's disappearance, Bruce Klitch is charged with her murder. Police believe the attack begins after midnight Friday night.
When she got home from that concert, that there was some type of an altercation between her and her husband.
Bruce?
And that during that altercation, we believe that he in some way disabled her.
I warned you! I warned you!
He took her body into the garage, put her into the back section of her own vehicle, and that he then took a pillow off the bed with a pillowcase, held that pillow over some portion of her body, and fired that gun through the pillow to muffle the sound. He had all weekend to dispose of the body. He didn't report her until Monday.
Bruce dumps Jana's body, then cleverly ditches her car.
Took the car with Jana's blood in it and left that car parked on the street in a bad area, a high crime area, and left the car unlocked, left the keys in it, left the gun in it.
His master plan? Someone steals the car, then has blood on their hands for Jana's murder.
Bruce did an excellent job, got rid of the body, and it was almost like a perfect murder.
Almost. In February 2003, Bruce Klitch takes the stand at his own murder trial.
Bruce was a very confident, some people would say a cocky person. He felt that he could control whatever was going on around him.
I believe that Bruce thought he would get away with this.
And he does get away.
It was 7-5 for a conviction, which is a hung jury.
Bruce Klitch posts the $1 million bail and walks free. 8 months later, the DA's office orders a second trial. They enlist attorney and evidence expert Ron Bowers to connect all the circumstantial facts.
There was no direct evidence, there's no smoking gun, so the jury had to understand what are all these little pieces and how do they connect and what does it mean? What can you infer from it?
This time, the jury buys it.
Within hours of the second trial, the jury came in with a guilty verdict of second-degree murder.
The cocky millionaire is no longer crowing.
He was very shocked, and when they handcuffed him and led him away, he was very surprised. He thought he was going to be walking home free as a result of the trial.
I worked for actually 38.5 years in law enforcement, and there was nothing that even compared to the satisfaction of solving this particular case and convicting the killer.
His sentence, 15 years to life. To this day, Bruce Klitch has kept his silence.
I knew Jana was gone. I still want to know what happened to her. I wish that we had a body.
I can't imagine anyone letting him out of prison anytime real soon until he does fess up to what he did and where the body is. As arrogant as he is, I don't think he ever will.
These women thought wealth could be their security blanket. It only ended up smothering the flames of love. Fran Hayes' marriage sank in a mire of bitterness and betrayal, while Jana Klitch was desperate to flee her cheating spouse. The greed of their husbands destroyed them both, and all the riches in the world couldn't pay the price of love. Till next we meet behind mansion walls, I'm Christopher Mason.